What is good, 2K family? Yes, you're looking at that right. There's an update for gameplay contest, and I have a video breaking that down. But today we want to talk about the build that just got better because of this, and the build that some top players are using more or less. And I basically made three versions of this. One is the high level competitive, playing for money in tournaments and championships. And then there's two others that are variables for you to tweak and play with in your personal choice. That being said, it is a smaller power forward at 6'9", and this update actually makes it even better. So it's hilarious. I already made this video and I had recorded the stream the first week of the game saying that these will be viable once they put out patches. And I waited 4 weeks and we're here. So let's get into it. We're going to dive deep down a rabbit hole on this build and these type of builds. Okay. So as you guys know, I don't like making too tall of a power forward or center. I believe that people are wasting speed. Speed is so essential, but also there's other variables in the game for you to be effective. So as you can see right here, it's originally supposed to be a power forward, to be honest with you, but we wanted to trick the builder by lowering the weight. Okay, you can see this is a power forward with only 72 strength, but I promise you this is very much great science. And I actually have confirmation from some of the top players out there right now. In the last 4 weeks, there's been some guys who basically go undefeated with this type of build. So they basically did the same build that I did the first week. They took it and created their own version with this system. They play the power forward position. All you got to do is tell your small forward to let you switch to the power forward if the game registers them as the power forward. And here we go. This is the weights. This is very important because if you don't get this weight, you can't get the exact perimeter defense and the exact interior defense. Okay. So now we're going to get into it. I'm going to show it to you right away and then help you understand what it is. Please don't click away because you think you know. There's things with cap breakers to do, as well as max plus ones and twos, and the reason why I made it this way. A lot of players who aren't very good high level players will think that this isn't a great build because it doesn't have contact dunks. Don't worry, I have a build with contact dunks just like this, but a little bit of a tweak. And then others want to do some dribbles or have higher shooting. And let me be honest with you. If you want higher shooting, your confidence level's low because this isn't your job. Make a point guard, right? Have a 99 three-pointer. I won't judge you for a point guard position. But for a power forward, he has to be reliable. He's actually supposed to guard every position from the point guard all the way up to the center. So that's why you have a high block. You have a high interior. You're going to end up with a 99 block, okay? This is going all the way up maxed out. You're going to have a lot of Hall of Fame defensive badges. And you're going to max plus 2 interceptor if you want to get more lane steals. And of course, perimeter is very high and interior is very high. So I'm going to showcase why this build works and what it really, really does, okay? But we are going to use cap breakers for this build. You don't need 100, everybody can get 5 easily. You can get 4 from just joining a crew. Going to be spots open everywhere, and sooner or later, even if you're in a small crew, they will end up getting all the badges. Okay, that being said, this build is meant to play the pick and roll with the lockdown. So the lockdown is going to have even better stats than this, with perimeter defense as a focus, and you're going to be having locks and interior defense as a focus because you want to basically guard the center most of the time. And so as they do the pick and roll, you're able to swap and guard the point guard because you have the perimeter and the agility and the speed, of course, but you're going to stay in front of your guy and you're going to be able to clamp up and then block the center with the interior defense. This is what this is all about. This is all about shutting down the pick and roll on a professional team. That's why this is here. Now, of course, we would want rebound higher to help out our center, but I promise you, gold box out. You could max plus 1 or 2 it if you feel like you're going to be the main rebounder, if necessary, but it isn't. Okay, you're good here. These attributes are absolutely necessary. Okay, and we're going to get into how this build will function and all of that good stuff. Of course, the biggest problem with this build is a 65. Personally, I like 76 for every build if possible. I sacrificed it in order to have this insane 99 block and defense the way it's set up. Okay, but this would be something I would like a lot higher just to be able to get crisp pass. But I promise you, you can get your passes clean with this. Okay, an 80 is more than enough. And as a matter of fact, a 78, all you need this year, you're going to be spotting up, taking open threes. They'll contest you at times, of course. It's good defenders, but you should be fine with that. And then for finishing, I know this looks really bad. You have a little bit of standing dunk, which you can just trigger very quickly, like most people do with a 45. And then you have a 65. You unlock a lot of good, simple dunks you can get with a 65. Right? And we'll showcase that and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the general main competitive build. And I just want to kind of go through a couple of key things in the actual game so you can. And look at that. Cooper, the rookie who might be rookie of the year, Rick Barry, and OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, I'm a Knicks fan. No, it's what it is with that. I want to get into this just to talk about the jumpers with an 80. The reason we went that high instead of 78. There's some really good jumpers. And Matt Ryan and so many others that are in here. I have a video for that, so you can check that out. Okay. But let's go into this and show you, even with the dunks, for example. For me personally, you know, I like Kevin a lot, but all of these other dunks can be useful. Max them out. You'll be just utilize whichever one you feel good about. Personally, you know, your job is to just do a standing dunk when you get under the rim. So these are the key. Okay. And then animations, like I said, it's not a big deal. Your job is to lock it up on. Okay, but this is the build. It's called Defensive Demon. It is good to go. Now I want to kind of just showcase the cap breakers and stuff like that. This isn't real version of the build until you see the cap breaker system. So in here, there's a lot of things that you want to do. Personally, I want to have this as high as possible. It's going to help big time for you to just buff your blocks. You're basically going to be shutting down anybody cutting to the basket. You're going to be able to contest extremely well because you have an 85 vertical. All your badges are going to be crazy cracked out. You're a lockdown who can play center position basically and guard 1 through 5. Offensively, your job is to spot up, hit the shots, cut to the basket, get a dunk. Okay, that's literally it. I know you might think, oh, I don't want to do this. Don't worry, I have a second build that I'll show you that I made that is similar. But yeah, it's going to be just fine. I promise you have a good time with this setup. Once we put the cap breakers, it's going to be locked in. All right. Now, I want to kind of just forget about this for a second because I know that some people are like, I wouldn't want to make that build. I'm not playing with top level players and pro-am and in leagues. I just want to have some fun. I don't really care. Well, guess what? I made this build for myself. This one right here, a similar version, tweaked it to make it fun for me. Okay. And so I wanted to have some decent dribbles and then I wanted to have contact dunk. So I'm going to ISO with this. When I play 2s or 3s, I'll just be the center, semi-center, but most likely forward and basically cook up. So this is the way it's going to look. I want you to look at it, the cap breakers. I can boost this all the way up. Right, and this is where this build is insane. To a 94, I would put it because I want 93 to get the gold posterizer and all the amazing animations at 93 or 94. We'll have that 4 cap breakers. Right, then with 2 extra cap breakers, I'm getting this up to an 80 dribble. So 75 speed with ball gives you Zach LaVine, and then you got an 80 dribbles to really go crazy. I promise you, this isn't. You're gonna say the pass is bad. I'm not passing. I'm scoring everything. This build is for fun, like we just said. You want to have fun? I'm taking this out to park. I'm taking this out to 3s or 2s and even 1s and dominating with this in the 1. Well, there's nothing that in the 1s that people are going to be able to do. Center trying to guard me is cooked. Power forward is going to get cooked. You know, a lockdown might try to give me some trouble, but I'll get past it. Lock in. But as you can see, this is the build. It's similar to the other one. I lowered the interior a little bit which kills my paint patroller, but I'm still gonna have the very high block, and my rebound is okay. Everything is pretty standard. I'm gonna be able to hold my own, okay? And I still can shoot decently brought up. And so this is more of a contact dunking, decent dribbling version that I made Cap Breaker to lock in for you. And this is, again, non-competitive version. And this is something I've been trying to preach, because I'm trying to teach people, yes, you can make a general build that can probably compete okay with your friends in Pro-Am. But when you're talking about the high level, you need a competitive version. And yes, you're not going to have everything on that one build. You're going to specialize on whatever it is you do. So those are the kind of things that we got to like take into account, understand as we go forward. Right? Then of course, specialization, just to talk about it, defense, if you really want to be exaggeratingly good with the build, or you could just be a madman and boost up other. This is all preference when it comes to the fun version of the build. Then you go from there. And what I like to do, just a side note, personally, I like to make one takeover abilities, like the categories, so I can buff up whatever it is. I'm like, hey, my 3-pointer's not that high, let me go and boost it up. And so I can go up 10 levels. That's it, you know, and I'm good to go. And I'll just do that. Okay, this is important, and this is the reason I bring this up, because you're basically going to be even better because of that small tweak during the games. Okay, those are the type of builds that you want to make and go forward. Now I want to kind of address this again. If I was to say, hey, I don't want really dunks too high, let me put up my mid-range, put up my passing, I can just use all this dunk that I put up a little bit exaggerated. You know, I'm going a little crazy with that. Put it up on passing, an all-around build. I told y'all to just fool around, play any, you know. And those are the kind of things you can do. Those are the type of builds you can make with it. But the point of what I was talking about earlier is, yes, buffed up contest, slightly reducing the height issues. Been tested a bit today within the last 12 hours. And from my feeling, and then from what testers have been doing, they definitely see a little bit of an increase. It's not exaggerated. No, 7.4s are not nerfed. The game is still the same. People just go on Twitter and YouTube and they post up nonsense. Don't listen to that. At the end of the day, you know, the reason I said a 6.9, you know, when the game first released, is that it's the most well-rounded version overall, regardless of how buffed the 7.4s are, how much you guys are going to talk crazy. They're the greatest thing that ever happened. I get it. But in the end of the day, contest being buffed only adds value to the smaller players that are well-rounded for everything. So I'm going to be able to stay in front of people at 6'9". I'm going to be able to contest better at 6'9" than a 7'4" could ever do. That's the difference. So that's why I like agility, speed on defenders, rather than just trying to make them tall and hope that you can get a good contest. Not going to work. All right. That's what it is. And I hope this video is informative about the power forward position. It is a very cool thing. You can make this a small forward officially too and just get crazy with it. It's up to you. But yeah, y'all got to start putting defense on y'all builds, man. Here's the thing. I'm going to preach it. You know, it's more about trying to be a winner. I think people worry about other stats too much. If you're not a point guard, you don't need a 99.3. You don't got to go crazy with the dribbles. It's like, dude, you wasted all those attributes. You're going to be standing in a corner 99% of the game. Apologies to say this, especially at the end of the video. 99% of y'all is standing in the corner, man. So if that's what you is, then why don't you be the greatest at that? And then shine defensively. That's why these builds are important to have, because they're going to be able to shut it down. So that's my challenge to y'all, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all had a good one. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Out of here. Yo, by the way, my defensive guide is on the channel. Go check that out right now. It's probably going to help you have more fun locking people up.